And we are in the backyard. Right over here is what we've got is, this is my yep, that right there. I took a 22-inch piece of tile and I had these little planter things. And I've got some, that silver stuff is, well, let's take a closer look at that. That silver stuff is special air conditioning duct stuff. As you can see, I've got inside there, I've got some small walking onions way down in there. But it's time to get a little cooler. Time to wrap those up for the night. We'll do the same thing over here. But we took a turkey basting device and plastic bag. See, we got some of those little onion guys in there going. But we're going to wrap it up for the night. Get a little cooler. That keeps the moisture in. Over here, we have some hairy vetch. That's growing pretty well. And here we have some crimson red. That right there. See this big old palm tree we have right here? It's not really that big. But I got some water that I keep under it. And that there, whenever it gets too close to the house, I cut one off. And then I put it over here. And I've got a pile. Then I use it when I'm working with the gravel. I put it as some cardboard down. I'll show you a video on that. But over here I've got a screen. And if you see carefully, you can see crimson red. And then some more hairy vetch. And what I basically did was took a screen for 48-inch by 84-inch screen, but they sell it in bigger rolls. I'd be tempted to buy a big roll next time. And then I got some of those little 2-footer pre-cut stakes. And then I knocked those in, and that's what's holding it up. And then over there I've got an old hose, and I just wrap the hose around it, and that keeps it nice and tight. That way, with the brick on top of it, it keeps the grasshoppers and birds. I had a little squirrel chomping away. That right there is lavender. It's had better days. I had been growing sweet sorghum in there, and I had overwatered it. But right over here, I've got a couple different styles. This one's good for the sun. But you can see I've got more red crimson going. And I had a bunch of broccoli going, but darn if a squirrel didn't come over here and start chomping away like it was a big buffet. And then here's a nice little rosemary that's doing quite well. So in any event, I got little piles of stuff I'm going to recycle. I'm going to get a wood chipper. And over here, this is where I had all of my sweet sorghum. I stripped away all of the extra, like the movie The Hoosiers. You know, the Gene Hackman and Barbara Hershey were out there pulling away pieces of the stems and stuff. But what's left inside are the canes themselves. So when I get a little tiny 1.6 inch diameter wood chipper, I'm going to put them through. I'm going to use that, put it for my special. And then these here, this is from leftover from the sweet sorghum. This was the colored uprights. And these are some seeds that I just got hanging. That's where I hang my seeds. Here's my high security gate. And there's the front yard. There's my mom's car that she sold me. And let's take a look here. Over here we have a cactus that my mailman gave me. It's doing quite well. And then we got another aloe vera that my sister gave me. And a third one. And it's doing pretty well. And if you notice, let's see. That right there's a little tiny cactus coming out of the bottom. And that's pretty cool. So it's having some babies. We'll take a look. And this cactus that my mailman gave me, a piece had fallen off when a kid soccer ball hit it, and I transplanted it, and it seems to be doing pretty darn well over here. So that's going well. And then there's part of the rig I've got for the vines. This right here is called Faux Tea, and it is doing pretty well. I had 3 plants I bought. 2 of them are growing right there. And then right there is a lavender. And right behind it is a little goji berry plant. I don't know if you can see that. Let's take a close look at that. And then right there, of course, is a rosemary. But that's 2 faux tea plants there. Some kind of evergreen, but it's kind of a cousin it's a perennial. It's doing pretty well. But this right here, this is a huge one. This is all just one plant. And since it's perennial, it'll be back next year. I dumped a bunch of dirt on top of it so it would grow some roots. And this is one of my earthworm piles. The juices help feed this baby. I think that's one of the reasons why it's growing so well. But this faux tea is already flowered, but you can see that it's taken to the ropes and taken to the vines. And it's doing incredibly well. This is pretty much all the faux tea, except for the part that's not the faux tea, which is the mucuna here. And the mucuna, all the leaves have pretty much gone. But as you can see, there's a lot of beans ready to harvest. This is the Parkinson's medicine. It's also good for human growth hormone. But it's doing fabulously well. I grow a lot of that every year. And as you can see, and then the Foti is so opportunistic. This is, remember, just one big plant. And it's taken over the yard. It's also called Chinese knotweed. So here we got another lavender. It's doing quite well. And then there's another rosemary. I like to use those because they're supposed to keep the cats away. And there I have a little tiny baby piece of cactus, like the ones that had broken off. And there's more crimson red. And that right there is mothballs. You leave them in the plastic bag, and then it keeps the cats away. The cats don't like the smells. So here's the basic idea, is that I have these basic metal poles that keep the bamboo up, and those are connected to ropes, and the ropes go over to this, and then basically I have this hole in the ground that goes down about 1.5 feet with a bunch of cement and a 2-inch pipe. Inside of that's another 1.5 inch PVC pipe. And inside of that is a metal pole for electrical conduit. But I had this initially just to pull it back because it wasn't particularly straight, but I don't think I really need that. Let's see, nothing really going on over here. Let's go over and look at the side yard. So there's compost pile number 1, and I keep these 5-gallon buckets. I fill them up with water so that the chlorine dissipates. And of course, here's the other pole. And I have those little hookups that make it easy to pull them down. Nothing's ever really tied down. And more Foti. Okay, so here I've got more hairy vetch, and that's a ground cover that's supposed to put nitrogen in the soil. And then here I tried to get some crimson red clover going. There's a little of that, but I had to plant more of that. And then over here I have another worm coast pile, and I have it heavily insulated so that the coldness doesn't bother the worms. And this one's got a few leaves left. You can see that there's some pretty good sized leaves, but Mucuna is an annual, so the leaves do fall off every winter. We haven't been too cold yet, but you can see some of the beans hiding there. And I'll be harvesting them shortly, probably next weekend. So anyway, that's that. We're around December 17th, Sunday. And then the side bed doesn't get much sun, but hopefully the red crimson and the hairy vetch will look okay and put a lot of nitrogen in the soil. So I planted right there, I planted a garlic. I put the little 4 rocks there just so I know where I planted it. And I put another garlic right there. Oh, I didn't show you the goji berries. This one I showed you already. That one is growing right there. I grew it from seeds. But there's some over here that are doing really well. These right here, they're starting to climb the pole. Well, I tie them up a little bit, but so, and there's a little baby there. So hopefully that'll do well. But right now this is all one big Foti plant, and it's kicking butt. These right here are seeds. They're supposed to be seeds. There were flowers there. And it's coming over here where the Mucuna is. So here's some Mucuna that isn't dark yet. That's why I was going to hold off on harvesting it, because until it's really black, it's also called velvet bean. Until it's black, let's look at one. Let's get a little bit darker here. So here, you can see that it's kind of a black velvety thing. Yep, there's the sun. So in any event, here's a couple big evergreens. So that's it for the front yard. We'll catch you some other week, okay?